When you quietly hold a warm, translucent, dark gold amber in your palm, examining it closely against the dim light of late night, you might think you are looking at an ordinary, exquisite gem, yet the most counterintuitive and mind-boggling riddle in geology coldly tells us that your gaze is piercing through a full 100 million years of empty space and time, landing on a perfectly frozen ancient afternoon. Inside this crystalline capsule, as hard as stone yet as warm as jade, a tiny forest insect maintains the elegant posture of a creature in mid-flight. The extremely fine hairs on its legs are clearly visible, and even the single air bubble beside it, captured from a vast Cretaceous forest, remains perfectly intact. This sounds like the time magic of geology, a fragile moment when life was incredibly vulnerable, yet it unexpectedly defeated the brutal erosion of shifting eons, gaining eternal immortality within this dark gold sanctuary. An eon old time capsule within a piece of amber. Today, it is no longer a cold mineral specimen in a museum showcase, but a late-night lullaby woven from endless time, the heavy crushing of earth, and the fragrance of pine resin. Tonight, let us accompany the gently flickering firelight and this story you need not effortfully memorize, to walk together into her true lifetime. Throughout this slow sedimentation and metamorphosis spanning 100 million years, all mundane anxieties, gains, and losses will be relentlessly washed away by the immense geological scale, leaving behind only ultimate tranquility, weight, and tenderness. The first fracture of the story occurs in the heart of an extremely sultry ancient forest, where the air is faintly laden with the crisp fragrance of ferns. There stood a giant golden pine tree in the center of the land, having lived for centuries. Upon its rough bark covered in greenish-gray moss, a deep wound split open quietly, ruthlessly torn by a violent Cretaceous tempest. To heal its own trauma, this ancient titan began to slowly ooze a droplet of extremely viscous, golden liquid from the depths of its wound, radiating a rich scent of pine resin, driven by the invisible pull of gravity. This resin droplet flowed gradually downward along the textures of the trunk at an exceedingly slow, restrained frequency that neared a total standstill. It refracted low-saturation glints of dim gold under the mottled afternoon sunlight. Rolling within the fluid was the warmth and vital sap belonging to that ancient era. This was not a painful bleeding, but a most noble and gentle release made by life for the sake of self-healing. However, precisely at the critical threshold where this resin droplet slid to the middle of the trunk, a tiny insect with sharp features and wings as thin as a cicada's, drawn by this dense, sweet fragrance, was perching lazily upon that dangerous patch of marble-textured bark ahead. The golden fluid finally arrived as destined. With a tenderness and decisiveness unique to liquids, within mere thousandths of a second, it silently and completely enveloped this blind wanderer into the center of its warm embrace. There was no cruel slaughter, no painful struggle. The azure within the insect's compound eyes slowly froze in the dark golden fluid. It maintained its initial dignified posture, becoming a secret prisoner in the absolute deepest core of this resin droplet, alongside that occasionally ensnared ancient air bubble, accompanied by the faint wind of dawn. This resin droplet, brimming with the codes of life, finally detached from the branch of the mother tree due to its increasing weight. Tracking a beautiful parabola, it landed securely into the soft, spongy gray mudbed thick with moss beneath the tree. It lost the freedom it once held to gaze down at the forest from high above, and its exterior began to gradually harden and dim under the brushing of the air. Yet its broad, warm fluid shell itself became the most robust and reassuring bed of security along this 100-million-year geological odyssey. Once the resin came to a complete rest on the mudbed, the splitting of Earth's plates and tectonic shifts opened up another millennium-old epic of underground weaving across the grand canvas of spacetime. With the descent of that cataclysmic ecological disaster at the end of the Cretaceous that utterly extinguished the dinosaurs, volcanic ash and a sky full of silt began to sweep across the entire ancient forest like a tidal wave, burying the remains of the golden pine and this tiny piece of resin inch by inch into the sunless depths of the earth. This is a highly counterintuitive stage of geological evolution. In the preliminary transformation known as the copal phase, it had to endure millions of years of extreme loneliness and the crushing weight of the earth. The high temperatures and immense pressures within the strata acted like pairs of invisible, strict hands, ruthlessly compressing its originally delicate, volatile-rich fluid shell, squeezing out the moisture and turpentine essential oil molecules inch by inch with a restrained cruelty. Under this high-intensity physical crushing, the hydrocarbons within its body transitioned into a deeply mysterious, slow macromolecular polymerization. The once fluid molecular chains became interwoven and locked tight, gradually evolving into a rigid solid structure that no longer compromised with the outside world. throughout this depositional period spanning tens of millions of years, it learned to reach a true reconciliation with the darkness deep within the Earth's crust, breathing silently within the soft laminations of sedimentary rock and perceiving subtle fluctuations of 1/10,000,000th of a degree Celsius in the ground temperature, every slight tearing of tectonic plates, and every uplifting or sinking of distant mountain ranges failed to sway it in the slightest, because the ancient insect inside had long since become an inseparable community of fate in the depths of its soul. Time completely slowed its pace here. The changing of dynasties and the rise and fall of civilizations in human society manifested in the deepest part of this sedimentary rock merely as a few micrometers of accumulation in the thickness of the silt above, resembling a refined recluse who had seen through the disillusionment of time and weathered countless vicissitudes. It quietly adjusted its crystal lattice arrangement through every changing of geological eras, awaiting its final awakening as amber with a highly restrained and weighty posture. To fully discern this secret of time wrapped deep within the strata, we must push the ocean of time toward the grander dimension of the recent geological epoch, that was the Quaternary glaciation, roughly a few million years ago, when the ancient mountain ranges that once towered into the clouds began to fracture and melt inch by inch under the ruthless scouring of glaciers. The immense terrestrial rivers formed by the melting ice, bearing a terrifying force capable of splitting mountains, washed open those ancient sedimentary layers that had slept for tens of millions of years. When the waves of change swept this mature piece of amber, finalized in its macromolecular polymerization and exuding a mesmerizing dark gold luster, it was scanned and gently washed out from its dark sedimentary bed by the surging river. It drifted tirelessly with the silt along the ancient river. Under the continuous collision and polishing of rocks and coarse sand, its exterior shed all the roughness and grime it once held as resin, becoming as pure as a sponge yet as hard and transparent as crystal. The laws of astronomy and geology achieved an exquisite passing of the torch here. Beneath a peaceful delta plain, it settled down once more under a brand new, noble identity known as an organic gemstone. When astronomers and geologists on 21st-century Earth focused their most sensitive microscopes and high-resolution spectrometers upon its core, the entire scientific community fell into a prolonged silence and profound awe. It is not merely a beautiful gem, but a definitive, unparalleled, ultimate time capsule spanning 100 million years of geological history. The Cretaceous insect sealed within has lifted the final veil of mystery cloaking the ecosystem of the dinosaur era. Every amber texture on its body weathered the baptism of wind and rain on a certain afternoon 100 million years ago, yet ultimately settled in the silent depths of the Earth's crust into a refined, introverted texture of warmth full of embrace, every soul sitting before a desk, tossing and turning with anxiety over the trivialities of the day. If they could understand the silent crushing weight and waiting this gem has endured through the eons, might feel a sense of security completely healed in the face of such a monumental scale of time. The most healing and reassuring aspect of geological time magic lies in its absolute fairness and eternal silence, which transcend all mundane judgments. Today in the year 2600, no matter how unimaginably high human society's technology has advanced, no matter how mundane utility and anxiety cause every late-night soul to toss and turn, this 100-million-year-old dark gold amber retains an internal crystal lattice frequency that keeps its original, exceedingly slow, and highly restrained unique beat. At this very moment, in this room so quiet that only breathing can be heard, and in every corner of this building, countless wisps of faint resin molecules and pure, primordial breath emitted from the ancient amber are gently penetrating the gaps in the curtains, enveloping your tense cerebral cortex and smoothing your anxious heartstrings. They have flowed through the laminations of oceans and continents for over 100 million years, bearing no warmth because of the clamor of any advanced civilization, nor altering their jade-like healing attributes due to the departure of any life. They witnessed countless assemblies and breakups of continental plates in Earth's history, the melting of ice and snow, and the reproduction of all things, yet ultimately chose to shed all sharpness of the eons, morphing into a faint residual warmth of soil and pine needles to quietly envelope you and this weary world together. In the face of such a grand, robust, and eternal natural scale, all the gains and losses we cling to during the day, the anxieties, regrets, and pains that make us toss and turn, appear utterly insignificant, like a single speck of dust falling in an ancient forest, fleeting in an instant. It is like a refined elder who has weathered countless vicissitudes and seen through the disillusionment of spacetime, whispering tenderly in your ear during every lonely late night at a near-static 100-million-year geological frequency. It's all right, everything is fine, everything will pass. Through 100 million years of wandering and remaining steadfast in the soil, it proves that silence, waiting, and self-healing are the most ultimate and enduring ancient aesthetics of this cold world. With the passage of time, this dark gold amber, which condenses the essence of Earth's 100 million years of history, has completely integrated into the brief golden age when human civilization looks up at the starry sky. Its clear glow will continue to emanate in the deep night, and its texture will become as ancient and rigid as rock, until one incredibly distant day when the solar system itself marches toward its final chapter of destiny. It will truly complete its life journey, transforming into a part of cosmic dust, restarting the next silent miracle of reproduction belonging to the depths of interstellar space. An old-time capsule within a piece of amber. She answers all ultimate riddles regarding the marks left by time mentioned in the prologue. She proves that we have never been orphans accidentally appearing in the lonely night, but beautiful notes destined to emerge in this tens of billions of years-long symphony of the earth. The world has completely quieted down, the moonlight outside the window, together with the clear glow of that gem in your palm, is weaving a most secure and reassuring dim light and shadow in your room. There is no need to ponder where the end of time lies, nor to worry about when tomorrow's sun will rise. You only need to attune to the oldest, most regular, slow heartbeat of these subterranean crystal lattices, completely relaxing your breath. The story has gently touched down. That forest lullaby performed jointly by pine resin and tectonic compression is softly echoing in your mind. Please close your eyes, and peacefully sink into this deepest, most tranquil dreamland woven for you by a single piece of amber.